Hey, what's up, guys? Um, let's just dive right into it. Today, I wanted to talk about feeling lonely and empty because it's something that I think a lot of people struggle with regularly. Um, it's a very uncomfortable place to be in sometimes, and it can be very challenging to allow it to be there, to accept that it's part of the human condition, right? To feel lonely, to feel empty, to feel like you're not really contributing to anything, or your days look kind of the same without any real purpose in them or something. And especially during these days where you are locked up in your house, or you're unable to get out there in the world and explore. It can be very challenging to keep yourself full, to keep yourself motivated to be excited about every day that kind of looks the same. Um, so yeah, it starts with accepting that it's fine to feel lonely and empty. It's part of life. It's part of being a human being. It's part of existing. So it's important to allow it to be there, and in this loneliness, in this emptiness, you can try to find a space of peace and a space of acceptance where you can then start to make room for new ideas, a new way of looking at things, a new way of experiencing your day-to-day your day-to-day life, right? Like the experience of emptiness, the experience of loneliness, it is but a mirage for the kind of the void that you feel inside, and you can try to fill it up with things, or with other people, or with all kinds of things. But I think it's important to also just go into it a little bit, and really try to pay attention to what it actually means to feel lonely. What are you feeling? Where do you feel this feeling? Where is it located in your body? Try to become aware of where this loneliness and this emptiness really is. And by doing that, it loses a lot of its power already, by looking at it more closely, and by realizing the quality of the feeling, by trying to investigate what is going on inside you. I think it already loses a lot of power, because you consciously put your attention on it, and it's not this unknown, vague kind of state of mind, because usually that's what it is. It's just this vague feeling of unease, this vague uncomfortable feeling, and you don't really know what exactly it is that's causing this uncomfortable feeling. You think it's loneliness, you think it's emptiness, but is it really? Is it not just your thoughts that make up this feeling? Because your thoughts, they can cause certain feelings to be there, and the other way around. Sometimes you just have some kind of feeling inside your body, and your thoughts try to come up with an explanation for this feeling. And by really looking closely, and trying to locate the feeling, trying to find the taste, the color, the structure, it loses a lot of its power, and it's very useful. Like, not only when you're feeling lonely or when you're feeling empty, it can also be very useful when you're sad or upset, or angry or jealous. All these feelings, it can be a good practice to look at this feeling, and to really try to describe it for yourself, the quality, really get a taste what it feels like. And it will allow you to also label your feelings better, and it's not necessarily always the right thing to do or a good thing to do to label your feelings, right? But it can really help to do that because it allows others to understand you better. It allows yourself to communicate whatever is going on inside you with more precision, you know? Like, words can never 100% describe your inner experience. That is practically impossible. Plus, also the language that you speak plays a huge role in the way you express whatever is going inside you. So if you would ask a person who speaks Mandarin or something when they are trying to express what they feel, it's gonna be totally different than when you're using the English language, right? So it is sometimes a little bit redundant or insufficient to label your feelings, but in a lot of situations it can be very helpful, very important for you to learn to do that, because then you can really put words to it, and by putting words to it you express it, and by expressing it you already heal from it, or you already process it more, you know. And by being able to express what you're feeling, you can then also help others understand you better and provide you with more tailored support or more relevant support. And I think that's very helpful, especially in closer relationships with friends, family, partners, loved ones. If you are able to put words to what you're experiencing, it allows them to empathize more easily, right? Because they might see a bodily reaction of you, or they might feel that you are tense or whatever it is, right? But for them, there is a huge amount of guesswork when you are seeing someone acting a certain way, or you know, and by them telling you what you feel, then you can, then they can, if you tell them what you feel and you're able to put words to the things you're experiencing, then they can understand you more easily, and it's very helpful to be able to do that, because you can then share a more closely related connection with someone, because then they know what's going on inside you, and they can never 100% know, because for somebody to feel angry, it's probably of a totally different quality than it is for you to feel angry, for example. But they can tailor their behavior better to your needs whenever you're able to express what is going on inside you. So to return back to my original point of feeling lonely and empty, I guess it's a matter of allowing it to be there and accepting that it's just like that right now, right? You don't have to settle for it. You don't have to be paralyzed by this feeling. I think it can be a very good motivator to get up and do something, right? Because as some of you might have guessed, I feel like this today. I feel very lonely and empty. And I decided to get up and record a video about this, because that usually helps me process things and allow me to put words to what I'm feeling and to express it and to let it out there. And by doing that, I hope to inspire some of you to do the same, not necessarily record a video, but allow it to be there and then express it towards yourself, towards others. It doesn't really matter. It's the way you like to do things and the way you prefer to deal with these things. And I think it's important that you find your own solutions to these situations. And I believe a big part of it is the acceptance, the allowing it to be there. And it's something that I'm also still working on, you know. Sometimes I feel a lot of resistance towards this. And then it stays there, it persists. What you resist persists. And it's very true. if you resist this lonely, empty feeling, it will become stronger. It will intensify, and then you will realize, oh, this is actually not what I want. Right? I don't want it to become worse, to become more intense. And sometimes you don't have a choice. It just moves and it fluctuates and comes in waves and goes and comes and goes, and that's all right. But by resisting, it will probably be more volatile. There will be more peaks. It will be more intense, more uncomfortable. So by just not resisting it, by allowing it to be there, it loses a lot of its power, and you can then transform it into this kind of sense of peace and calmness and acceptance, and it feels good. It feels good when you are able to accept and allow loneliness to be there, because it's peaceful. It's peaceful when you're able to do that, and that's a wonderful feeling, a wonderful experience. And loneliness can be a good emotion to have. It can be a good experience to have, because it drives you to question certain things, or to ask yourself certain questions, or to get up and do something about it, because it's a state that's quite uncomfortable. And usually it starts with this cloudy feeling, this undefined, very cloudy, yes, cloudy is a good word, cloudy feeling. And when you're paying closer attention, it becomes more concrete, and then it will transform into you taking some kind of action. And I think that's good. It really is. So maybe consider seeing the loneliness and the emptiness as a precursor to positive action, right? And then you can maybe even start to look forward sometimes to feeling a little bit lonely or empty, because you know that good things will come out of it. And when you're able to approach a situation like that with this attitude, I believe it can really make a huge difference in your day-to-day experience, like the level of satisfaction you're experiencing, the level of fulfillment. It can drastically be improved by approaching these more negative states of being with a positive attitude, with a knowing that it's necessary to go through these phases, that it's part of being a human. And the more you're able to allow these phases to pass, the more you're able to allow these feelings to be there and just sit with them and create something out of it, the better you will be equipped with skills and tools for the future, because these feelings and experiences will always be there, always. You cannot outrun them, you cannot deny them, you cannot escape them. There is no way. There will always be times like this, always. You can try to escape them forever, but it will not work, because you will out they will outrun you always. So you can extend it into the future a little bit, maybe, like you can put it off a little bit by, I don't know, chasing drugs or chasing external validation or whatever it is, right? But eventually it will catch up with you, and the earlier you learn to deal with these situations, the more secure you are in your abilities to cope with feelings like this, the more at ease you will be forever, right? Because you know that, okay, these things are coming anyways. Everybody knows it, and a lot of people are super anxious about it, and they try to put it off, always put it off, and deny it and resist it. But then it hits them like really hard, and they have no way to deal with it, and then they lash out, or they do stupid stuff that they later regret, etc. Right? But if you learn to deal with this as early as you can, right? Start today by paying attention, by looking for ways to let it be, and build on these skills, build on these tools, build on your ability to allow these feelings to be there, because the more you practice it, the better you'll become at it. And it's a lifelong toolkit that you can use forever until you die, right? Like, because these feelings will always travel together with you. They will always be side by side. And yes, it's nice to feel good and elated and joyful and happy, and you know, that's perfect. That's wonderful. I love to feel like that, really. Everybody does. Most of the people do. Sometimes some people prefer not to, but equally the parts where you feel down and sad and angry are there. It's a balance. Life is always about balance, and the more you're able to reduce the amount of suffering you're experiencing whenever you're feeling in a more negative state of mind, the better you will feel as a whole. Because yes, suffering can be painful, but the more you resist it, the more it hurts. And by allowing it to happen, by not resisting it, it reduces a lot of the pain it causes you. And I think that's very powerful to day by day work on it, and to really realize that every every difficult day or period you go through and you learn to deal with it, it builds on the previous one. So the more experience you gain, the better you will be able to handle these situations. And that's a really good thing, and it's something very, very, very powerful, and it will pay off forever, because you will not forget how to do it. Sometimes maybe you will, but by doing it daily, regularly, you condition yourself, and you will not forget, because it's becoming part of you, becoming part of your system. It's like practicing a piece of music on the piano, for instance. In the beginning, you have to like really closely pay attention to the notes and where do I put my fingers and this and that, and then you start to know it a little bit by heart, and you start playing it more easily, and you don't really have to look at the notes anymore. A little bit, but not always. Like some passages you have to like look it up, and then it becomes more fluid. And first it's like slow, you play it slow, and then you're able to play it faster. And after a while you don't even have to look at the sheets anymore, you can just look at the hands. And then after a while you don't even have to look at your hands, and you can just play it like with your eyes closed almost. And when you reach that point, then when you don't play the piano for a year or 2 years, because you've practiced it like so much, so many times, then whenever you revisit the piano, you will like, at first it will be like, oh, how did it went like this, no? And then all of a sudden you get into this flow, and then the sequence of the notes, they will fall into place, and you will be able to play it again as if you were practicing for such a long time. It's amazing how this works. I mean, I used to play the piano for 7-8 years or something, and until this day, there is some pieces I still remember how to play them, because I played them so many times, and it's been a few years already since I've touched the piano. But these are still like in my system. They're still part of me, you know. These little plays, and it's the same thing with these skills, with these practices. The more you practice them, even at some period in your life you feel like, I don't want to spend time doing this, well, you will never forget it. You will never forget it, and it will always be part of you. And whenever you want to revisit these skills, these practices, you will be able to, because they will be part of you until you die. And that's amazing. It's fantastic to be able to cultivate these skills and practices. So I highly recommend you try it out, right? Try things like meditation, journaling, talking about it with people, figuring out the quality of your feelings, putting a name on it, locating them in your body. These are practices that take time, but they are worth it. They're absolutely worth it, and you will not regret spending time and energy on doing these things, because, like I said, it's an investment, a time and energy investment, but it pays off until you die. And that's amazing. That is one of the best investments you can make, right? If you put your money somewhere and it pays dividends forever until you die, that's a very good investment. So yeah, that's, I guess, what I wanted to talk about in this video. I wanted to show some support to whoever is feeling low, feeling empty, feeling lonely out there. We all do, and it's alright to feel like that. It really is. And yeah, I hope I was able to teach some tools and skills and mindsets that might help with dealing with these feelings and situations. So thank you for being brave. Thank you for looking inward. Thank you for making yourself and thus the world a better place, one day at a time. And as always, thanks for watching. Talk soon, guys.